What's good, everyone? It's me, Royal Young, the single greatest YouTuber of all time. I don't even know why I'm introducing myself. If you don't know the single most powerful and important person on the planet, I gotta have you dealt with. Anyways, in all my omnipotence, one thing I've noticed about making videos on the internet is that a lot of the people I cover all suffer from like one common symptom, and that is an insane level of delusion and detachment from reality. Like, these people think that they are the main characters of real life and have literal plot armor. Wow, someone should make a video about that. Like, so many people online live in these fake, self-constructed worlds where reality just operates on a completely different set of rules than everyone else. And I want to look at some notable examples of this delusion, how these delusions present themselves, figure out why this sort of thing happens, and finally, determine whether the internet has something to do with this. So the first example, and the guy that inspired me to make this video, is a dude who goes by Catastrophe. I hate to admit it, but I have a morbid fascination with strange people online, and I spend a lot of time keeping track of these people instead of just getting a real fucking job. And in all my years of internet anthropology, if you can call it that, I think Catastrophe is one of the most fascinating individuals I've ever seen, and by far the most disconnected from reality. So basically, Tyler's a content creator and artist who recently blew up on TikTok for his video that he made about his crush.
I have had a crush on Will Gold since 2019 when I heard him laugh in the background of someone else's video, and it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me, because I am very much a one soul at a time kind of person, so once I develop a crush, virtually no one else stands a chance ever. And so in all of that time, regardless of how many people have tried and been interested in me, I have not been able to find the interest for any single one of them, because I have a crush on a guy I have interacted with once, and I don't even officially know his sexuality.
His celebrity crush is Wilbur Soot, a musician, YouTuber, and most importantly, a proven abuser who loved biting his ex way beyond limits, financially abused her by making her pay for everything despite being a millionaire, and lived in absolute filth. And these are all things he apologized for and admitted. And like, just really attractive qualities, man. Like, out of everybody you're gonna develop this like parasocial attachment with, you pick fucking Wilbur Soot. What is wrong with you, dude? And yes, before you ask, he has actually met Wilbur before. Once. At a fan meetup that he paid to be at. There's just so much to talk about here. I really bit off more than I could chew. Get it? It's because Wilbur bites people, which Tyler denies. Just the way it's presented is utterly absurd. He's talking about himself being like a one soul at a time type of person, but like, your souls aren't even connected. You met him at a meet and greet. There's no, like, reciprocity there. But sure, man, the stripper likes you. The waitress was flirting, okay? I've had a crush on Candy since 2019, when I was making it rain at the strip club, and she gave me a slightly longer smile than the other patrons, and it felt like life itself leaned into look. Which is really inconvenient, for me, because I'm very much a one soul at a time type person, so no matter how many other dancers try and fail to get a tip out of me, I'm saving my whole paycheck for the one that's clearly into me. And not only that, but Tyler doesn't even live in the same continent as him. Tyler lives in Texas, and Wilbur lives in Brighton, England. Keep the city of Brighton in mind. It comes up later. He's been rejecting people actually in his life, you know, for this, like, imagined romance with Wilbur Soot, who doesn't even live on the same fucking continent. And dude, could you imagine shooting your shot with Mr. Catastrophe here? Don't tell me you just rejected me over a celebrity that you've never talked to one-on-one. I did talk to him one-on-one, though. Where? A meet and greet. Okay, so you paid to talk to him, though. Okay, but you don't understand. Life itself leaned in to listen when I heard him laugh. You're interrupting my fanfic here, man. Will Gold is the one for me. It's like that one, isn't there someone you forgot to ask meme, but with Wilbur Soot instead of Jesus? Honestly, that probably counts as blasphemy to put Wilbur Soot over a picture of Jesus. My fault. Sorry, really quick allegation speedrun. I'm not going to spend long on this, but I kind of have to touch on it a bit. That way you understand why I really dislike Tyler. So, Wilbur provably did all of those things, and even admitted so in his really shitty manipulative apology. But because he has such a crazy delusional parasocial crush, he's deluded himself into thinking that Wilbur isn't an abuser.
Did they knowingly hurt you on purpose? And if you know for a fact that they did it on purpose, then yeah, that person sucks, they're an abuser. But if you can't be sure they knew they were hurting you, you have to ask yourself another question. Did you tell them it hurt you? Because if you didn't, I'm sorry, you have to. You can't assume they know unless you tell them. And for the third point, Shovel states very clearly in her follow-up VOD that she consented to the biting. And while I don't think anyone should be hurt in their relationships, at the end of the day, that is a communication issue.
Needed him to really stop biting so hard. I didn't like it, and I tried telling him over and over again because he wasn't actually trying at all to not hurt me. But he said he would try at first. And then he started saying things like, it was my pain tolerance that was too low, or I'm exaggerating how much it actually hurts. He's not even biting that hard. I'm being dramatic.
For one, I fucking hate this tone of voice. I'm sorry, it is grating to me because it sounds like a kindergarten teacher. He has such a condescension in his voice as if we know less than him. When he's the one mansplaining an abuse victim, despite clearly not even fully listening to what she said. And as you're gonna see throughout this video, there's a lot of internet-based delusions, and one thing I noticed is that anytime you kinda infringe on these delusions, these delusional people tend to freak the fuck out. For example, Tyler just made a video slandering an abuse victim because it kinda like infringed on his little ideal world where Wilbur's a good guy and he's allowed to crush on him. Another less important example is like One Piece fans. A lot of them and their identity is tied to One Piece being the greatest piece of fiction ever. And I love One Piece, but sometimes when you criticize that show, those fans who have that worldview will just freak the fuck out because you're challenging their delusions. And that's why this sort of behavior annoys me a lot, because it's never just confined to them. And what's so funny about Tyler's whole persona is that he lives in like a completely different universe than anybody else does, where even the worst case scenario in his head is still just like astronomically unlikely in the real world.
I've decided I need some more goals, and I think I've got a nice list of stuff, all with varying degrees of achievability, because I know I can do anything. But some of them will be more difficult than others. I want to make a necklace for Lizzo, because I make really cool stuff, and I know she'd like it. I make every single one with her in mind. She's fabulous. I mean, honestly, they look incredible on her, and I think she deserves it. It would be so cool.
You make every necklace with Lizzo in mind? I'm sorry to interrupt. That's just such a funny statement to me. He's just like, yeah, Lizzo's gonna love this one. Like, that's such a weird claim to make. Am I wrong? It reminds me of the Marsha P. Johnson thing with Film Cooper, which, again, no shade. I know he apologized for it. It's just like a similarly weird claim where it's like, there's no way you were thinking of this person every time you put on this outfit or made this necklace. Like, come on.
And 3 is, I want to make art for Hosier. I just really want to. I mean, a lot of my work is already a similar vibe. This one's named for a Hosier song. It would be so cool. It is a dream. I want to be just famous enough that I could get invited to the 2026 World Cup as a VIP. I would love to watch basically the entire tournament, like at least half the game, but even just like a box ticket for the final game. That would be incredible. I would be over the moon.
Like, okay, he does realize that being famous enough to get invited to the World Cup is unlikely. But so, it's okay though. He's cool with just getting box seats to the final game. Box seats to the final game. That's his backup plan. You got 1 month to get famous enough to get invited, which is pretty damn hard because you are at negative levels of fame right now. And I ran the calculations. You would have to have 3 songs go triple platinum right now to get to the fame levels of average Joe on the street, alright? You gotta do something astronomical to get invited to the fucking World Cup. And you know, having songs go platinum is kind of an issue because his singing sounds like this.
So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly.
Although he did audition to be the second vocalist for Lovejoy, the band that Wilbur Soot is in, so I feel like you should know that. And what makes it even worse is that they weren't looking for a second vocalist, he just did that. Yeah man, I'm just gonna walk onto the Dallas Cowboys practice mid-season, I'm sure that's gonna work out. And again, I'm not trying to like diss on anyone trying to have big goals or do something crazy, right? You need to have big dreams. Bet on yourself, alright? Everyone get more delusional right now as long as you take the steps to achieve it. But I think the thing about Tyler that pisses a lot of people off is that like he says all these big things. He tries to audition for a band that isn't even auditioning. He tries to get invited to the damn World Cup. But he doesn't even really have like a plan to back up these incredibly difficult goals, you know? But I mean, if you already believe you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, there's no need to work, you know? These things will just come to you. And I feel like that's the difference between optimism and genuine delusion. I know some guy, right? And he is dead set on being a professional sports player, alright? He talks about how many millions he's going to make, alright? He's not on the team. He doesn't hit the gym. He doesn't do fucking anything athletic, alright? And, dude, like, if you were on that fucking grind set, if you were hitting the weights, right? I will listen to you talk about that. I don't want to hear that if you aren't taking the first step toward it. Because then you make me feel bad about my dreams that I'm not chasing. Because it's a sad, depressing mirror. Honestly, whenever I think about that instance, though, I immediately just lock the fuck in, though. So, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Anyways, yeah, in case you are curious what Tyler's plan of action is to continue as is, selling extremely overpriced amateur art and beadwork. Well, let's take a look. He sells these often really amateurish beadwork necklaces for absolutely absurd prices, and he literally wears them before he sells them. I mean, I guess the oils are the expensive part. I mean, you could probably sell them to the US military.
My entire life, I've been the kind of person who bites off more than I can chew just so I can see if I can learn how to chew it. Again, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, we've been over this. Because of those 936 orders, I've only finished about 433 of them.
That is the wildest way I've ever seen someone describe themselves as irresponsible. Like, that's what I mean by delusional people on the internet. It's like, something will go wrong, and they will, like, in real time, alter what happened in their mind to fit within their own, like, self-serving canon. Like, oh yeah, I took too many orders. Well, actually, I just like to bite off more than I can chew. Like, you know, people are waiting for those, right? If that's even real. But no, that doesn't fit the narrative, so we're not gonna say it like that. But thing is, he says he has that many orders, right? But he's also crowdfunding his move to England, so, like, I feel like if he was doing as good as he said, he wouldn't need to be crowdfunding from us. Oh yeah, right, he wants to move to England. And yeah, I feel like you could probably guess where he wants to move. Yeah, it's Brighton, where Wilbur lives. Now, his stated reason for wanting to move there is because he wants to escape transphobia, which, that's great. America, and Texas in specific, is pretty damn transphobic. Stay safe, bro. He's moving to- but he's moved to fucking England, bro! How is that any better? Like, guys, dude, I need y'all to donate to my GoFundMe right now. I am stuck in the 7th circle of hell. This is agonizing. Anywhere would be better from here. I need to get the fuck out. Damn, that sucks, bro. Here, I can hand you a few bucks. Like, well, can I just ask where you're trying to move? Oh yeah, the 8th circle of hell, Tel Aviv. I'm gonna keep this. And it's like, come on. We know that at least one of the reasons he's moving there is because of Wilbur Soot. And the thing is, Tyler's delusional enough, for one, to think that this raises his chances with Wilbur. I mean, I guarantee he's seen it by now and he still hasn't reached out, so... And then also, I feel like he's deluded himself into thinking that we're gonna buy that excuse. I feel like he's even deluded himself into thinking he's not moving for that reason. Come on, come up with a better excuse. Going to England to escape transphobia. Going to England to escape transphobia. Going to Tel Aviv to escape hell. Speaking of hell, let's look at his paintings. So I'm not typically one to judge art because I think there's just a huge degree of subjectivity there. However, I feel like Tyler's work proves the opposite, that there is some level of objectivity. Let's look at it. All his pieces are really amateurish, which is fine. Again, you all start somewhere, right? The thing is, he treats them with this absolutely biblical level of reverence.
But now I've got something for the punks, and I think you're gonna like it. Cause you see this bad boy? Not only is it incredible, not only is it amazing, it's also awesome. I made it. It's great.
Look, I'm all for being proud of your work, but I think you also need to be your own biggest critic if you want to improve. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that shouldn't be how people are, but I don't know. It helped me improve decently fast. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a good artist or anything, but, you know, I could draw furries, alright? The background is the fucking eclipse from Berserk, but then the foreground is like the My Hero Academia color palette. The high noon, midday, it's like, there's no like light bleed onto it. Is that Chad, dude? Is that the Chad meme? By the way, this is $123 currently, and that's actually on the very, very, very low end of his art, because he's selling this one for $32,000. And is that fucking Charlie Kirk? I feel like a lot of these delusional people, they look at reality with a filter on that morphs whatever happens into something that like serves their own interests in a way. For example, one of the reasons he was cool with moving to England is because supposedly Stuart Semple offered him a job to work at Culture Hustle. Because apparently he was offered a job after spending a day working at the studio. But what actually happened is he popped in for like 30 minutes, didn't really do anything, offered a bunch of unwanted criticism, pestered Stuart Semple about a job. Stuart Semple kind of gave him like a half answer, like, oh yeah, if you ever find yourself down here, we'll see. Trying to like let him off easy. And then Tyler is just like, yup, that's confirmation. Everything turned out good, you know? Again, he saw this happening and just put it all in the most positive delusional spin possible. Despite like the studio literally ignored his calls and texts later on. So like, I feel like he should have given a more direct answer, but like, you gotta read the room a little though.
Actually, fuck Stuart Semple. Since I'm just letting myself be angry here, my work is better than his.
Hey, that's not reading the room. What I want to talk about now is a lot of his overarching behaviors and whether the internet had like a hand in creating this sort of thing, or if this is just how Tyler is and the internet gives him the tools to like become delusional. Because I've noticed a lot of the traits that Tyler has and a lot of other people I've covered online, so I kind of want to know the cause of it. So for one, the thing that stuck out to me is his desire to like fictionalize and romanticize his life, you know, fanficify it, if you will. Again, just remember like the tone of voice and language he used in his Wilbur Soot video.
And it felt like life itself leaned in to listen. Which is really inconvenient for me, because I'm very much a one soul at a time kind of person.
And it's like, I know a decent amount of people like this. Like, they try to, like, portray their life in the most, like, anime way possible, you know?
I guess it's time to show you how anime I can get.
In their head, they want to have this grand overarching narrative where they're like the Mary Sue protagonist. And then the annoying part is that they do their best to make other people believe it. And I had one friend who was like this all the time, and it's like having a conversation with this guy was so fucking draining because it feels like he's constantly doing his absolute best to like market his life toward you, and like in order for him to believe that he's super special, he has to make you believe it too. And I feel like I see a lot of this in Tyler's content and the way he presents sorts of things. And again, there's nothing wrong with romanticizing your life a little. I do it all the time too. I think it adds, some flavor to your life if you can like, have an overarching narrative, and stay optimistic. But there is a limit, and past that limit, it comes off as super weird and egotistical, and just really uncomfortable for the audience of whoever's talking. And again, it reminds me of this one friend I had where I mentioned that I got recognized once in real life from YouTube. And they were like, oh shit, bro, me too. He has like 10 followers on Twitch. I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking thing you could try to one-up me on. And I'm a small YouTuber. That's even why that interaction was notable. I'm not trying to be Mr. Famous here. My point is just that like delusional main character types have this unending need to prove how great they are, and they have to make you believe it too. And that's why I think Tyler Catastrophe gets on a lot of people's nerves, and how the internet kind of lets them stoke this sort of narrative because they're really in control of how they, tell their lives or what they post. And again, this desire to feel special can actually take some problematic forms. Tyler Catastrophe is a white suburbanite American, but clearly he feels that this identity is too boring for him.
What are you gonna do, stab me? I grew up in backwoods Oklahoma and I had a younger brother.
Who are you, man? I'm from Arlington, Texas. I'm like that.
So he's taken to identifying as Two-Spirit, ignoring the fact that actual Two-Spirit people have a significant role in a lot of indigenous cultures, and the fact that non-indigenous people can't fucking be Two-Spirit.
And doing what little I can to help keep their ways alive. And referring to myself as Two-Spirit as a way of honoring the weight of my own soul and the way it guides me home.
They're still here, right? Oh, wait, what's that in the sky? Is that the white savior? Oh, we're saved! And that's already kind of crazy, but he posted this the other day, too.
But the one thing that really never stopped calling was the land I was born to. I was born and raised in Oklahoma, arguably the most indigenous state.
Dude, you are a white American. You can't say like the land calls to me. Come on. What? If Tyler didn't have this unending need to dramatize his life, he could have just said, yeah, I like living in Oklahoma. I want to move back there. But instead he says, the land calls to me, and makes it super fucking pretentious. And honestly kind of insensitive. It's like, a non-native guy saying he has a claim to land. Where have I heard that before? I don't know, surely not like most of the greatest crimes in human history. It's not that serious, right? I'm not saying Tyler Catastrophe is responsible for colonialism. Tyler was not on the Mayflower. Maybe his great-great-grandfather was, fucking Timothy Calamity or something. Like, again, it's not that serious, but I find it so funny, because, like, again, Tyler's clearly someone who generally has decent political opinions. It's just so funny how, like, as soon as a topic concerns himself, he just says some crazy out-of-pocket shit without even thinking. Tyler, you're not indigenous, so why do you feel that Oklahoma calls to you, Do you need more living space, perhaps, Lebensraum, if you will. Watch, Tyler Ben Gurion finally makes it to England, and all of a sudden he's just like, well, you know what's actually always really called to me? Northern Ireland. The land back movement, except we give all the stewardship to Tyler Catastrophe instead of actual indigenous people. I think this overwhelming desire to feel special is what creates the Tyler Catastrophes of the world. And I feel like the internet makes it worse, but I also feel like these people do exist on their own. Again, some of the most chronically offline people I've met are low-key Tyler Catastrophe clones, so it's complicated. But I think the internet gives these people the tools to live out their fantasies and project it to others. But that kind of leads me into my next group of people that I want to cover. So obviously, when it comes to matters of like egotistical delusion and how people narrate their lives, yeah, obviously the internet makes that worse. But the same can be said for other types of delusions, such as widely held false beliefs based on kinda nothing or really spotty evidence. And I think this is perfectly exemplified through the phenomenon known as RaptureTok. Basically, last September there was a random South African preacher who said that he had a prophetic dream that the rapture was coming, either on September 23rd or 24th. And if you don't know what the rapture is, basically it's the Christian belief that all true believers will get pulled up into the sky to join God, either before or after a bunch of worldly tribulations happen. Despite being yet another attention-seeking rapture prediction, none of which have came true yet, or maybe it didn't, just pulled up one guy and we didn't notice, who knows. For some reason, Christians on TikTok started freaking the out and genuinely preparing for the rapture. They were sharing tips and tricks videos.
When you finally start moving up into the air, I recommend that you don't hold on to anything. I definitely don't recommend looking down. I think we learned that lesson from Lot's wife. Okay, just keep calm, take a deep breath. Slowly release it and keep your face looking upwards.
How would you know? You haven't experienced it yet. Like, what? How do you know you're going up? But again, everyone freaked out and started just like feeding into each other's delusions because they're all in this tight little like TikTok echo chamber where no other outside information can penetrate. Or, you know, the people telling them otherwise are godless, demonic atheists who want to, I don't know, eat babies or something. And again, look, like, again, even if you are religious, who is taking someone else's dreams that seriously? Like, who takes dreams that seriously in general? Like, okay, dude, I had a dream where I was on death row and I was set to be executed in a vat of acid, Rick and Morty style. Does that mean that I have to go out and like start petitioning to outlaw vat of acid executions? No, that's just what my brain thought would be like. I don't know, maybe I was worried about that day. I don't fucking know. This, like, there's no significance. That's just what my brain came up with. I'm not trying to shit on religious people or people who take dreams seriously. I'm just like, dude, when it comes to something this serious, I feel like you need to use a little, like, foresight here. Like, look, I had a dream that I went to a rave the other day. You know why I had that dream? It's because I went to a rave that day. I don't know, maybe your brain tends to dream about things you think about. Of course a pastor is thinking about God at the end of the world. You gotta use some better discernment here on what means anything. But again, despite this being really obvious, I think, for the average person with common sense, the people in these crazy TikTok echo chambers bounced ideas off of each other until they all became insane and started selling their possessions.
God has told me to sell my car because I won't need it beyond September, baby, because the bride of Christ is flying.
So I am super persuadable, and I've been on RaptureTok for like the past, I don't know, hour. If the rapture is gonna happen in a few days, but they say it's gonna happen, that means I only have a few days left with my kids.
Are your kids not gonna make it or something? Wow. Okay. And what's so funny is that she admits to herself that she's super persuadable, but like, why are these people only persuaded by TikToks? Like, okay, the actual book she follows says that no one knows the day or the hour, not even the Son of Man. But for some reason, that's not persuasive enough. She spent an hour on TikTok and now she's freaking the fuck out. Like, okay, look, I know there's some level of like, probably religious psychosis going on, and I do feel bad in that case, but like, it's like, hello, read your own book. How am I supposed to feel bad for you? Like, but I guess that's really what I mean by internet-based delusion. There's just something about the internet that makes it so much easier to radicalize some people. Also, it's really funny because like a lot of these videos have such a sad tone to them, but like, guys, I thought this was a good thing. I thought you wanted this. It tends to be really like conservative evangelical Christians who are posting these sorts of things in these sort of rabbit holes. So like, honestly, it's hard for me to feel bad, alright? Like, okay. Like, so you spent your entire life as a bootlicking homophobe based on like 5 cherry-picked verses in recent translations, ignored the most important one, which is to love thy neighbor, not deport thy neighbor. And you want me to feel bad for you because you sold all of your possessions at a super cheap discount because you saw a fucking TikTok? Boo fucking who, dude, alright? Tiny violin moment, certified chickens coming home to roost moment, we smoking that stupid dumbass pack. And again, I'm also aware that religious psychosis is a thing, and a lot of people that did believe in this were more progressive Christians, and even in places without as much internet. And so, like, I do feel bad for them, and again, I do feel bad for, like, everybody who got victimized by this as a whole. But still, I'm sorry, some people make it so hard to feel bad for them.
Today is the day!
Hey wait, why are you so excited for the rest of us to go through tribulations? Oh wait, we got the last laugh though, cause you had to go to work! Could you imagine the shift after the rapture didn't come? Could you imagine that shift? Oh my god, schadenfreude. For me, the idea that a huge amount of humans would be going to hell is something that made me deconstruct my entire religion. But for some people, it's a point of extreme excitement and exclusivity. Like, they're hyped about this. I'm like, I feel like you should want to be wrong in this case. Like the Pope said, dude, I hope hell is empty. I think it's such an amazing example of internet-based delusion. Because the Bible itself, the book these people follow, literally says that Christ is going to come back like a thief in the night, and no one knows the day or the hour. But despite the actual book and most Christians being able to tell you, yeah, no one knows when this is going to happen, again, people just whip themselves up into some crazy frenzy because they're all in the same, like, TikTok echo chambers. It's so crazy to me. Like, dude, see what the Bible itself has to say, alright? Actually, no, it's fine. Sell me your car, please. Sell me your car. I got a crisp Benjamin in my pocket. I will take that car.
Hey, to the person who sold me their car on September 21st, if this is September 24th and the rapture didn't happen, you're not getting your car back.
Their delusions don't even make sense within their delusion. Delusionception over here. Why would you need to sell your shit if you're getting raptured? If your idea of heaven uses money, or specifically the US dollar, that's the most delusional thing in this video. Like, yeah, I can't wait to pay my heavenly landlord and my heavenly healthcare bill. And like, again, like, why would you need your money? Again, the Bible literally says that it is easier for a camel to go through an eye of the needle than for a rich person to get to heaven. But all these people are so concerned about selling their possessions and getting money. If it is true, I couldn't verify this, but if it is true that someone sold their house for 10K, all I gotta say is on the bright side, you're way closer to reaching heaven now. And also, again, dude, so much delusion in this video. I think it's another great example because all these people assume that they're going up. Alright, I know that sounds bad, but motherfuckers will be slumlords or defense contractors, and they think they're going up when the rapture happens. Buddy, but I got news for you. You should hope your religion is wrong, dude. And even during the RaptureTok craze, I actually saw a video posted from some guy in Gaza who said when the bombs suddenly stop and you walk outside and see a bunch of white people floating in the sky, which is very morbidly funny and accurate. Like, seriously. I'm sorry, some of y'all really misallocated your time on Earth. You better hope you were wrong about your religion, alright? But overall, I just find RaptureTok so hilarious because, like, it's one of those things that shows how easily people could just whip themselves up into a frenzy over nothing on the internet and how the internet kind of stokes that on. Like, it's cultish. You're in an echo chamber with no outside correction to tell you you're wrong. Or like, the cult itself tells you that the people outside telling you you're wrong are wrong, and that you need to just, like, believe harder or something. And it's like, I feel like everyone falls into this to an extent online. Like, everyone gets, like, way too worried about something that they see being posted a lot online. And I feel like that's part of the nature of the internet, too. It's like, it kind of makes everyone delusional a bit. Sometimes I catch myself, like, falling into these little weird rabbit holes, and I'm just like, relax, bro. Slow down. Chill out. The internet is designed to do this for your engagement. And it honestly sucks though, because if you aren't doing the best mentally, this can totally spiral you out of control. And on a less serious note though, it's not even just religion that this sort of thinking happens in. You can even see this in like fandoms. For example, Stranger Things Season 5 was fucking dog shit. ChatGPT garbage. No spoilers in this session, but it's really not worth watching. Use your time better, trust me. This is Hawkins, and this is the Upside Down. You know how bad it has to be for the fandom itself to hate it? Come on. But again, the fandom was so disappointed that they all got to collectively hallucinating that there was going to be a secret 9th episode that fixed the issues of the other ones. It was like the hidden Mickey psychosis, where they're just seeing clues in everything, and it's just like, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, the ending sucked, that's it. There's no mythical Stranger Things Messiah episode to come save you, but the thing that was notable about this is that a lot of the posts that made them were so well formatted, but also really cherry-picked, so like, it was information being presented in such like a clean-cut, professional way by big accounts a lot of the times. And I feel like, you know, you tend to assign a lot of importance to things being said on the internet if it's coming from you in a very professional manner. And I think that, again, that just stokes on delusions. It's like, hey, I'm thinking these crazy things, but so is this big account though, so maybe I am right. Maybe I gotta keep looking for more clues and denying any evidence of the contrary. You tend to believe things a little more if they're presented professionally. For example, I am in your closet right now. This is true because I said it in an authoritative tone of voice with a decent mic. But even then, sometimes the content itself is barely believable, and they'll gladly delude themselves as long as it kind of panders to what they already want to believe. You saw it with the Stranger Things people, but this one is a million times worse to me. It is the reality shifters back during quarantine. So back in 2020, when everyone was depressed and at home, people, you know, obviously wanted to escape their pretty mundane lives. That sucked. That shit was boring. I have way too many Roblox hours logged from quarantine. I wish I could change that. And basically what happened is that a lot of people hopped on TikTok saying that there's an infinite number of multiverses. And through like meditation or sleeping or whatever, you could transfer your consciousness to any one of these infinite number of multiverses and live out the experience you want. To a depressed teenager in quarantine who spends all their time on fandom spaces, this is like crack. This is like the greatest thing ever. I'm not saying crack's the greatest thing ever, but it's like, again, it's like, wow, I need to come up with a better metaphor for that. This is like a dream come true for them, alright? And so despite there, again, being no evidence other than personal anecdote, everyone chose to believe this. I went back and I looked at a lot of like old shifting videos, and there are just thousands of people who fully bought into this, and were spending all this time trying to shift into their favorite realities, normally to live out some sort of like fanfic romance. Like, everyone tried to get with Draco Malfoy, and it was so funny. There was a lot of drama in this. So like, basically, someone said that they shifted to a universe where Draco was like really nice, but then he turned abusive and started hitting her, and then he killed him, and then people were like, holy shit, That's actual murder, because that's an actual reality. Which is the dumbest internet beef I've ever heard. And again, I'm not trying to shit on anyone, like, going through a tough time during that time. Dude, again, I get it. I have probably thousands of hours of Roblox from quarantine, and I watched so much anime at one point that they started appearing in my dreams, alright? I was dreaming about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like, daily. It was really weird. So, like, I get it. The boredom was immeasurable during that time, but I feel like shifting is just another step up above that in terms of insanity. It's like, again, I feel bad, but on the other hand, it's just like I feel like we should know better than to purposely f up your mental state and purposely try to disassociate from reality, like, as bad as you can. That cannot be good. That's like, this is like reverse therapy. Because again, the nature of the internet, you could choose to stay in these echo chambers and not get any outside correction or any sense knocked into you. Also, the funniest part to me is that, like, lucid dreaming is already a thing. Like, you know, you guys could just do that, right? But again, quarantine. But yeah, personally, I think RaptureTok and shifting are the two worst examples of delusion in terms of, like, personal harm. But there's honestly countless examples of internet-based delusion, and I think you get the gist by now. So let's discuss why it happens and the internet's role in this. How much of this comes from people in general, and how much of this comes from the nature of the internet. I think content creation itself kind of, like, feeds into delusional thinking because it allows you to, you know, curate your own narrative and, you know, stay in your bubble. In general, I just think the nature of content kind of makes people way more likely to believe in things that aren't true, or to, like, amplify the likelihood of things happening. Like that one girl a few years ago who posted a selfie and was just like, guys, I want to start a Netflix series. Twitter, do your thing. And everyone's just like, what the f are we supposed to do? But, you know, if your social media feed is full of, like, feel-good success stories like that, you might believe that's way more likely than it is, and requires a lot less effort than it actually does. Sort of like how Tyler Catastrophe sees people selling paintings for thousands of dollars and automatically thinks he can do the same thing without the same level of effort and painstaking humility and, like, self-correction required. I also think, like, being a content creator itself and that whole, like, sphere of the internet also can, like, really stoke on people's ego and delusions. And, you know, kind of gives them a bit of main character syndrome. Like, when you curate a page all about you, your interests, your stories, and you can control the entire narrative and what information gets shared, a lot of people let that get to their head and just run the f away with that. And they really just go wild with ego because of the power they've been given. But I also think that, like, again, not every creator's like that, so it is very down to personal disposition, you know? Not everyone lets the power corrupt them, you know? So, like, on the one hand, yes, I think the internet does make delusions and ego worse. But on the other hand, I think some people really are just like that. You know, delusional, egotistical people tend to be attracted to the internet and content creation. So, like, I don't want to just blame the internet. And this relationship is unfortunately at its worst when it comes to mental illness. I didn't cover a lot of things that are, like, directly linked to mental illness today, but something I've noticed a lot on the internet is that it is, oh, dude, it is bad. If you aren't, like, mentally stable, the internet could really f you up. Like, look at all the happening today from, like, a lot of actually decently well-adjusted people in other avenues of life. Again, successful people believing the rapture is going to happen tomorrow, and then add in mental illness to that mix. I mean, you could argue that person believing the rapture is going to happen has something undiagnosed, but still, it's like, they're fine in the rest of their life, they get worse from the internet. Imagine what happens when you do need to be medicated. It's really bad. Again, like, that is the worst case of, like, internet-based delusion, and I really do feel bad for a lot of people stuck in that sort of loop. But overall, fork found a kitchen, people are tripping, the internet is tripping, they're both tripping. And that's how we get all the insane delusional we see on the internet today. But I will say, there is something more delusional than anything else I've shared in this video, and that is you if you made it this far and don't think this video is worth liking and subscribing for. Okay, that's all I got. Later.